SportsBeat is brought to you by Ken Garff. We hear you.
SportsBeat is live. JJ and Sam with you as always. Tonight, the NBA is back. We'll take an in-depth look at what you can expect when it returns in late July and what it means for the Jazz.
Yeah, athletes and teams all around the world are standing together in response to George Floyd's death. You'll hear some of the moving statements that have been shared by players and coaches this past week.
But we begin with the top local sports story of the weekend. Utah defensive coordinator Morgan Scalley has been suspended by athletic director Mark Harlan for a text he sent in 2013 that contained racist language. Harlan became aware of this text after a social media post brought it to light on Wednesday. Coach Scalli admits that he used a racial slur in a text message and has apologized for it. An outside firm is reviewing the matter to seek further details and determine whether this was an isolated incident. Fellow assistant coach Sharif Shah tweeted this, quote, "It's been an emotionally difficult week. I am unable to comment because Coach Scalli's issue is under review. I pray we all remain patient and withhold final judgment until all of the facts surface." The player believed to be the unintended recipient of that text in 2013 is former Utah receiver Raylan Singleton. He responded to the story on Twitter Sunday, quote, "I don't know who was behind that Twitter page trying to kill this man's credibility. I don't get down like that. We all make mistakes, but Scalli showed me nothing but love while I was in Utah along with the rest of the coaching staff, and I'm forever grateful for that."
Well, there have been several reactions from current and former players, a lot of support for Scalli as well. Saints defensive back Marcus Williams posted a long thread on Twitter, part of which says, quote, while I don't agree with the language, Morgan Scalley is not a racist. He embraces the black community with his whole heart and has never shown me different. Former Ute and NFL defensive lineman Derek Shelby tweeted, while I don't agree with the language, Morgan Scalley is a good man who made a mistake. Emotions are high, so right now is not a time for a trial via Twitter. And as you see there, recently drafted Terrell Burgess posted, obviously whatever was said is unacceptable, but this does not portray the great character and warm heart that he has. But there have also been a few messages that are not as supportive.
Lacey, a two-year starter for the Ute cornerback, posted this. I was a victim of his blatant racial slurs in 2008 as a freshman. I confronted that man my senior year, 2013, in front of my teammates, received a not-so-sincere apology, more of an excuse. And former Utes DB Sean Smith posted saying, wow, I knew it. See, the truth always comes out, and my teammates know what's up. Let's see if Scalli is going to be speaking up and be honest. You can read several more responses from players at KSLSports.com.
Here's play right there. Splits the defender out front, drives inside. Joe the rebound. Rudy maybe got a hand up on it. Clarkson, that's his spot. Bang! Straight away. Look, there was more of that. And Buckets gets the bucket.
Yes, he does.
He's inside. And that's how you finish. Oh, taken away. Take it to the rim. Pass Donovan. Just beat the clock. You betcha. Pulls it down from way downtown.
Man, we have missed that. You know, a regular NBA offseason lasts close to 5 months. By the time the NBA resumes play this summer, it'll be close to that same amount of time since we last saw an NBA game. But at least now we know for sure NBA basketball will finish out this season. The NBA Board of Governors and the players have agreed to a plan that will allow the resumption of the season this summer. The approval has been for 22 teams to resume playing games on July 31st. Players from those 22 teams, the top 8 in each conference, plus the next 6 total teams that are within 6 games of the 8th seed, will report to team facilities for training camp on June 30th. Then those 22 teams will head to Orlando on July 7th to continue training and go through coronavirus screenings that are leading up to the resumption of play on the 31st. There will be 8 regular season games played per team over a 2-week period. The top 8 from each conference will advance to the playoffs. If the 9th team is within 4 games of the 8th spot, those 2 teams will play to earn the 8th seed. Game 7 of the NBA Finals would be no later than October 12th.
There is not an official schedule yet, but this is what we know. The remainder of the regular season will last 16 days with 5 to 6 games played per day at 3 different facilities in Orlando. Playoff position will be determined by winning percentage and not won-loss record, since not all teams will have played the same number of games.
Jazz Executive Vice President of Basketball Operations Dennis Lindsay issued a statement that said in part, quote, "While our society faces important issues that certainly eclipse basketball, the entire Jazz organization looks forward to getting back on the court and continuing its playoff push. While we regret not playing in front of our tremendous fans, we are grateful for their loyal support and know that they will be behind us."
The protests around the country this past week are a call for change and a call to action. One of those committing to make a difference is Utah Jazz head coach Quinn Snyder. The NBA Coaches Association has formed a committee to combat racism and police brutality, and Quinn has been selected to be on that committee, which will work with local leaders and law enforcement agencies to create positive change in NBA communities. He shared his thoughts on this new thing on the Woj Pod on ESPN.com.
You know, this is not just a black problem. That's one of the things I continue to hear and understand, that you know, this is, in some ways, this is a white problem. And that sustainability, those partnerships, it's necessary for white people to listen. It's also about being willing to have that dialogue, to be transparent, to be honest with yourself. And ultimately, I think as a white man, what I was hearing was we need help. I can't understand on a certain level, just experientially, what Lloyd has been through, what Fizz has been through, and some of the experiences that they've had. They just haven't happened to me. But that doesn't mean that they're not real to me. And my path is different. And there's nothing wrong with that, I think, to understand that, to accept that. That doesn't mean you can't help impact change.
Well, one of the most respected coaches in the NBA, Greg Popovich, released a video statement yesterday in response to George Floyd's death. He was very emotional, saying we wouldn't have to have any more tragic events. We don't need to have any more tragic events for this to stop. He did say that we can't be silent anymore. We need to speak.
So it's got to be us, in my opinion, that speak truth to power, that call it out no matter what the consequences. We have to speak. We have to not let anything go. It's like the neighborhood where you know there's a dangerous corner and you know that something's going to happen someday and nobody does anything. And then a young kid gets killed and the stop sign goes up. Well, without getting too political, we got a lot of stop signs that need to go up quickly because our country is in trouble.
The best moments in Jazz playoff history, including Karl Malone's top playoff dunks, are coming right up.
Give to Yo. Yo drives to the rim. Oh, man alive!
And some drama added to the BYU-Utah basketball rivalry. We'll explain when SportsBeat continues.
SportsBeat is brought to you by Ken Garth. We hear you.
NASCAR in Atlanta at the Folds of Honor Quick Trip 500 today. Before the race began, NASCAR stopped the cars on the front straightaway to take a moment to recognize social injustice with what they called a moment of listening. Now, once the green flag dropped, it was Martin Truex Jr. who had a great start, hits the checkers for the Stage 1 win. Minutes later, it's Truex again taking more bonus points with the Stage 2 win. But it was Kevin Harvick's day, running out in front of Truex in the final laps of the race. He pulls away for the win. Kyle Busch finishes second and Truex third.
Give to Yo. Yo drives to the rim. Oh, man alive!
Hands, two. Wow. Behind the back. Woo. Don't do them like that.
News broke Friday that will only intensify an already intense BYU-Utah basketball rivalry. University of Utah basketball incoming freshman Caleb Lohner has asked for his release from his letter of intent so that he can play at BYU. The four-star recruit out of Wasatch Academy signed with Utah on November 13, 2019. He was a key part of a highly rated recruiting class that is expected to make an instant impact on the Utes and improve their chances of competing with other talented Pac-12 teams. No word on whether Larry Kraskowiak will grant him that release.
With the NBA's decision to return to play with 22 teams in Orlando, it means the Utah Jazz have officially clinched a spot in the playoffs. Yep, it's going to be a unique postseason, and it will certainly create some unique Utah Jazz playoff memories.
Before new playoff moments are made, we wanted to take a look back at some of the great postseason moments in Utah Jazz history on this week's Jazz Rewind.
Here at McNichols Arena tonight, Doug Moe's Denver Nuggets are just one game away from closing out the season for the Utah Jazz.
I think they realize the importance of it. They don't want to go back to Salt Lake.
But I know we're going to win. I know we're going to bust out tonight. All right? I know we're going to bust out tonight.
To the baseline, spin it back to Ricky, to Griff, three-pointer, no. Base right to Thoreau, shot up, yes! The Jazz take the lead. Back to Carter, three-pointer from angle left. That's no good, air ball right in the hands of Danley. 2 seconds, one. She's history. The Jazz have won it.
For the first time in franchise history, the Jazz headed to the locker room as divisional champions.
We just started to believe in ourselves, and we started winning games that we normally didn't win. And it just started to get to the point that we're good, we can play. And we go to the Lakers, and we can beat you. Boston come in town, we can beat you.
A lot of us started to finally believe that maybe we could be a good team.
I hope that I can help the team out as much as they think I'm going to.
Right hook by Elijah one.
Hey, we got to get this on camera.
A lot of people probably hadn't heard about it, but they know it now. And I make another promise. We're going to be a team to be reckoned with in the future.
Right side of the mailman.
This Hughes in the league. Good night. Sloan's gone. What a bounce back. Thread the needle. On to the finish.
Banana, watch the hit right there. It's a 23-footer. Shot in this quarter. And you like close.
Stockton, open three. Good! John Stockton sends the Utah Jazz to the NBA Finals.
I've never seen this kind of emotion from Stockton.
I never had a playoff game like this.
Maybe the last chance. He's got it. 50. Right by Austin and throws it down over Battier. Fires it inside. Boozer.
You know, this disease is very rare. Seeing her smiling face all the way home on the plane was good enough.
Left corner pitcher fires away. The jumper good. Darren thinking, drive the middle, pull up, leap and leaner. He got it. 2 seconds left. He got it. Jared Williams.
With 31 now.
Chris was trying to come back.
1 second to shoot. Oh, Hayward flies in to end the third quarter.
Players in their primes will choose what's best for their careers.
And the Chicago Bulls have defeated the Utah Jazz. This is reverence. We may never see this guy on the basketball court again.
Seconds, 2-1 for the win. Yes!
I just see it
It took everything. You know, we worked hard. You know, we stuck with it. The character of this team is incredible. And we all played well. We all did what we were supposed to do, and everybody came up big.
Man, 5 minutes of goosebumps there.
Yeah.
Love it. So many great memories. So many great Karl Malone moments in the playoffs. Among those moments are some great dunks.
Yeah, and when the mailman threw down, there was nothing that you could do except get out of the way. For tonight's top 5, we focus on the mailman's best deliveries in the playoffs.
All right, this is in the 1987 NBA playoffs. Karl Malone throws down a putback dunk. I think this made our top 5 more so for the dance, to be honest. This would clinch a Game 2 victory against the Golden State Warriors. We're going to ignore what happened in the next 3 games in that series.
Stock to the middle. Stockton right side of Malone. To the middle. Slam dunk. You gotta love it, baby.
Yeah, this is game 1 in the first round of the 1990 playoffs against the Phoenix Suns. Karl dunking on Kurt Rambis and Andrew Lang in a game 1 victory at the old Salt Palace.
Malone goes to work. Did he walk? No.
1988, the Western Conference semifinals. What a series this was. Game 3 in the old Salt Palace, and the mailman blows past Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and then hammers on AC Green for a dunk in the Jazz Game 3 victory.
Now to accelerate, goes back. Cooper laying up. Ball will go, but it's jammed in by the mailman.
Yeah, that 88 Western Conference semis in game 2. Karl goes over the top of Lakers center Michael Thompson for the putback dunk. The Jazz won game 2 in the Forum in LA.
And now this may be the best dunk in Karl Malone's career. He certainly had some amazing ones, but this dunking over one of the greatest players of all time, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, the reaction of Kareem says it all. This game was in Game 4 of the 1988 Western Conference semifinals. Sam, the Jazz actually lost this game, but who cares? That's the dunk I remember from that game, and what a series that was. I was 10 years old. Yeah. And watching that series was so impactful for me. I really thought the Jazz were going to beat the defending NBA champion Lakers and win that series. In fact, Karl promised and Bobby Hansen promised. Yeah. And when they lost Game 7, I cried like a baby.
I remember how exciting it was in my household. My dad and my uncles constantly talking about, oh my goodness, the Jazz are 1 win away from getting past the Lakers, you know, the world champions. But Karl Malone sure had quite a series against them, and we saw 3 straight dunks there that will never be forgotten in Karl Malone's amazing career.
Really, honestly, the start, the really breakout of the Stockton and Malone era, Stockton Malone being NBA stars. So that was a very important moment in Jazz history. All right, up next, we have champions crowned in the Last Chance baseball tournament.
A local legend, college All-American, WNBA great, and Olympic gold medalist Natalie Williams. She joins Thoreau Bailey on this week's Thoreau Talk. It's coming up next on SportsBeat.
Yeah, are you serious? Here. Pop, that's yours. You swear, Jay. It's yours. Look, it's brand new. 2020, I got you.
Oh, how about that? Steelers running back James Conner with this week's play of the day. How does he do it? Well, he surprises his dad with a brand new set of wheels, a nice new truck.
That's awesome. All right, Natalie Williams is one of the greatest athletes in state history, an Olympic gold medalist and WNBA legend. The Utah native is Thoreau Bailey's latest guest on the Thoreau Talk podcast. They discuss her life after playing basketball and her foundation that helps girls reach the next level of basketball.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to Thoreau Talk. Of course, I'm Thoreau Bailey, and we have a very exciting guest on today. And this is I'm going to call a young lady because she is a young lady, and I'm very old. 2-time All-WNBA first team, 4-time WNBA All-Star. Natalie Williams, welcome to Thoreau Talk.
Thoreau, thank you so much. It's great to be here. Appreciate that. It was super nice.
Natalie, I want to talk to you now about post-basketball. I have a feeling we have this kind of a kindred spirit because of how we've decided to use what we've learned in basketball and hopefully help others with an opportunity, and not even just an opportunity to play sports, but to learn from sports and apply that to whatever they decide to do in their lives. So tell me about your basketball program and what you've been doing for the last few years for these young women.
Yeah, well, thank you for allowing me to talk about it. I started coaching the last 2 years that I was playing in the WNBA, and I started coaching and helping out at Skyline High School, and was able to coach with Skyline for, I think it was about 4 years, and in those 4 years helped them get to 2 state championships. Absolutely loved it and knew that that was my next calling, to give back to the community here in Salt Lake City and in Utah. I love coaching. I tell people all the time, coach in my sleep. And it was what I meant to do. And then, having 3 daughters, that was the right avenue. I wanted them to get in the game and just learn so many things from the great things that sports gives you, in learning how to handle adversity and learning how to handle conflict and dealing with it, and how to work hard. So I run the Natalie Williams Basketball Academy, and we have ages or grades, 3rd grade, girls and boys, through high school elite. And in the last 2 years, proud that all of my kids have been placed from junior college to Division I, 11 last year and 11 this year again. So I just take a lot of pride in it.
What do you tell them? What do you leave them with?
I think the biggest thing I would say is, 1, enjoy the journey, because life, that is exactly what it is. You're going to have hard times. You're going to have great times. Don't get too low over the lows, and don't get too high on the highs. And be a part of your community. Be a part of your family. You could change someone's life every single day. And just do the best you can. That's all you can ask. We're living in a very interesting time right now.
Aren't we, though?
In many ways. So that's definitely what I would say, is just appreciate everything you have around you and make others around you feel special and loved, and, we'll get through everything together.
Well, high school sports were not allowed to crown state champs this spring because of COVID-19, but thanks to the Last Chance tournament, a pair of teams got to experience that championship feeling on the diamond. American Fork trailed 7-0 at one point to Riverton, but they came back to get the 6A title with an 8-7 win.
The 5A title was won by Timpanogos. The Timberwolves had the tough task of having to beat Salem Hills twice in Spanish Fork on Saturday, then add in the wind and the rain. It was a long day, but in the end, they picked up a 9-8 win in Game 2 to win the championship. Congratulations to both teams. Very cool. All right, we'll be right back after this with the hallowed grounds. He looks familiar.
What?
Who is that?
Who is that guy? It'll be
work
fun.
on his swing. Maybe she could teach him something.
Yeah, definitely. You'll want to check that out.
The hallowed grounds. Brought to you by Siegfried and Jensen.
Welcome into this week's episode of The Hallowed Grounds. Very little introduction required. Mr. Sam Farnsworth and his lovely wife, Sadie. Sam will be hosting Sunday when this thing airs, so you all know who he is. That's his lovely missus. She used to be a golf coach, believe it or not. We're going to change things up. Sam's not eligible for the prizes. Sadie is. These two are going to play best ball. I'm playing my own shot. If you guys win, Bushnell Wingman coming your way. You'll have some fun with that. If not, we'll look after you in some way, shape, or form. Are you ready?
Ready.
Best of luck.
Oh, I mean, it's she's ready. I don't know about me. We're
see.
good.
We're good. You guys are up first. Best of luck. See, this is why we play best ball.
There you go.
Hey Sadie, so you were a golf coach?
I was.
How long for?
6 years.
Wow.
Right? No.
Yeah, 6 years.
6 years.
Favorite memory?
We won the RMAC championship by 24 shots.
You're kidding?
Nope.
Wow, that's a good coach if I've ever heard of one.
Yeah, it took me 5 years to do it though.
Nice work.
All right. Not that time.
Not that time, Tom.
Do you think there's going to be as much excitement to the build-up to all of the sports that are about to resume? Here's the deal. Like, during every preseason, there's excitement from fan bases.
Right.
But this one seems to be elevated.
Well, it's wild because it's almost like we've had an entire off season for the NBA, and suddenly we're diving right back in, and it's almost right into the playoffs, right? So the excitement level at that's going to be at a peak, and that's just going to bleed right into football, assuming everything goes without a hitch there. I think baseball is being kind of left out here because they can't seem to agree on anything. So it's just going to be like an avalanche of sports coming at us this summer and fall, and it's going to be beautiful. Can't wait.
Can't wait. Back to you.
It does get me up and about.
Look at that.
Beauty.
Hey, I've got to look at par. That's all that matters.
Quick.
Yeah. You want the momentum to go a third.
Downhill.
Downhill.
We got it.
It's shiny.
Go.
Turn.
All right.
Turn.
All right. Turn.
Settle.
Good
Settle.
grief. Oh my.
Come on. You like that plug, don't you? Huh? Charlie from Bushnell?
Ah.
Doesn't break.
Sam I am, when the cameras come on, the great man shines.
Oh, that was a heat. Turn,
yeah!
Woo!
Yes!
Unbelievable.
I don't think he likes it. Is this fair, Tom?
All right, I'm on a 2-week losing streak to Bushnell. I apologize to everybody at KSL Sports. I apologize, Sam, Sadie. I had a shave this morning, and I made sure the mustache was really going to be fun.
It looks great.
Thank you.
It does.
I was waiting on that, to be honest with you, but congratulations nonetheless.
Thanks.
A Bushnell wingman will be in your possession here shortly. Put the kids to bed, play some music, enjoy time, and it's been a treat. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for getting my wife out on the golf course.
I know.
No worries.
She needs to take some cuts.
Sam, Sadie,
thanks.
Everybody. Welcome into this week's episode of the Pro Tip of the Week, brought to you by, of course, Nate Wade Subaru. Big shout out, Ogden Country Club. We're up here in O-Town, Naomi. Kind enough to join us. So this is a tip, Naomi, that you can work in at your home, right? So you got 2 chairs, piece of string, golf ball putter, and then some. This could be any object. It just so happens to be a water bottle, but if you have a cup that you want to place down on the floor, you can. And we're going to work on putting while everybody's quarantined. So talk to us about what you work on in particular when you go through this putting motion.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so again, string. We have that set up. The idea here is that you want the string to be right over the ball. So you want to get that lined up just so it's right in the middle, in line with your target as well. The idea with the string being right in your line of focus is as you're practicing your putting stroke, you can kind of see where your club face is angled at impact. So if you're missing the ball to the right of the target, your club face might be outside of the string like this. If you're missing it to the left, it might be to the left of the string. And so practicing at home, getting that putting stroke dialed in, just get it right under the string like so, line it up, make sure you're right over that string, get the club face square.
Bushnell has come out with a very innovative product called the Wingman. This is a Bluetooth speaker. Great sound quality, but we've done a couple things to make this not just a Bluetooth speaker. One, this is a GPS. 107. See, one thing I like about this unit is it gives you general front, back, middle, but on a big green like this, I really like using it in conjunction with a laser. A laser can tell you within 9 inches of something. And my GPS here is going to tell me 92 to the front, 120 to the middle. This is a long green. So this just dialed it into 107. Now I can screw up from there, but at least I know the facts.
Golf for days in Heber Valley at one of 5 beautiful mountain courses. Wasatch Golf Course, Soldier Hollow Golf Course, and the Homestead Golf Club are all within 7 miles of each other. Enjoy the feeling of getting away without the long drive.